Hey everyone, in today's video, I'm gonna bring you on a tour of my small YouTube studio that is also my bedroom. Over the course of the year, you may have noticed my background changing in almost every video, whether that was a different backdrop, different colored lights, standing, sitting. Heck, I even went through the work of buying and setting up this backdrop system, and I'm lucky if I used it more than 2 times. But finally, after so many changes and planning, I think I finally got something I'm happy with, and so I wanted to share it with you. Also, everything in this video will be linked down below if you were interested in anything. So before I moved into this room, my desk was actually out in the living room, and basically my room was in the den area of our condo. When I had the plan to take over this room, I had to do some planning because I knew that I wanted to make this my YouTube studio, but also a bedroom or a place to sleep. So I took measurements of the entire room, including every piece of furniture, like my bed and desk, wrote them all down, and got to designing. If you're planning to move things around or redecorate your space, I'd highly recommend taking measurements of your space and designing it in SketchUp. You'd be surprised how many different ways you can set up your room that you would have never known, because moving your bed 50 times takes hours compared to the 5 minutes it does in SketchUp. Once I had a functional design that I was happy with, I was good to go. I started with moving my bed, then my desk, set up this 4 cubby cabinet, moved in my drawers and nightstand, then set up my desk. I didn't film much of this part, but I'll go through and talk a bit more about the setup. Starting off with my super productive but minimalistic workstation. This is definitely the best part of the room. I'm not going to go into full detail because I already posted a video talking about my desk setup 2 weeks ago where I gave you guys a full tour of the desk. So if you are interested in that video, you can click up here, or I'll leave a link in the description. But basically we have the Mac Mini as my main computer. As for monitor, I'm using the BenQ PD2700U, which is one of my favorite monitors, Logitech MX Master 3 and Logitech MX Keys Mini for my peripherals, Sony headphones I got when I was like 13, wireless charging pad, hard drives, etc. And everything is sitting on top of this big automatic standing desk from Vivo. I decided to place the desk against the window because I find that I focus on my work better when I have a lot of natural light coming in. I wanted to set up a backdrop in my videos that looked good, and so I decided to buy some plants to bring some life into the room. And I swear, do you guys know how expensive plants are? I was on the hunt for a couple weeks trying to find cheap plants online and even on Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, and I just couldn't believe the prices. For something equivalent to that size, which is a little over 5 feet, I couldn't find anything less than $200. But IKEA came in clutch, having this fake Kentia palm is what they call it, for 80 bucks. And I think it looks great. But after seeing these prices, now I know why my mom used to get upset when my brother and I were kids and our soccer ball used to go flying and break one of her plants. However, this wasn't the only plant I bought. I also ended up picking up this fake Monstera for the top of this 4-cube cabinet and the classic YouTuber plant for the top of my desk. All of these came out to a little over $100, but I do have to say they helped change the look of my videos significantly and help bring a little bit of life back into the room. On the left side of the desk, we have an IKEA Alex drawer, which I really like because it has so much storage space. So I usually have this set up pretty organized, but throughout the week, because I actually use everything that's in here, it gets pretty messy. The top drawer is usually where I like to keep all my gear, not like lenses, but clips, batteries, audio recorders, etc. The next drawer houses all my office supplies, which are basically just pens and notebooks that I use to write down my ideas and stay creative, but also productive. Sometimes I find that I'll get tired being at the computer or on my iPad all day. Maybe it's the blue light, I don't know, but I want to keep working on my video script, so I'll just start writing the script or maybe video ideas on pen and paper, then type them out the next day. Third drawer down is where I keep all my cables. We all know cables can get quite messy, especially if they're not wrapped up properly or not organized. And as someone who has cables for literally everything that I own, it's nice to finally have them organized. So if something like my keyboard is low on battery, I don't have to go searching for a cable and get out of that workflow. Lastly, the big drawer at the bottom, this is usually always messy because this is the one drawer I don't organize. I just throw everything that I don't use that often down there, so things like my drone gear, small tripods, ball heads, and so on. Now that's really it for the desk area and where I work at throughout the day. So let's move on to the rest of the room. So one of my favorite things about the room is this little machine I got right here. This is the Artly Enjoy 3, and it's one of the best and most affordable projectors I found on Amazon. I've been wanting a projector for so long to make use of this huge white wall, but they are just so expensive. However, this projector is only about $200, has a native resolution of 1080p, which is super sharp, and actually has great picture quality. As of right now, it sits on top of my nightstand, but I might install a floating shelf or mount for it on top of my bed. That way I can center it perfectly, because as of right now it sits on a slight angle from my bed. Connected to the projector is the Xbox One S, and so far this console has been great to me. I don't really game that often. If I do, it's usually a race or two in Formula 1, Rocket League, or Cold War, but I mostly use it for Netflix or watching YouTube, so I probably won't be upgrading this Xbox anytime soon. The bed is just a queen, and underneath I have this rolling cart that fits perfectly under the bed. Was fairly cheap, but I got it for extra storage. Sure, I could just throw everything under my bed like I have been doing for years, but having to get those things again is always a pain. I needed some place to store extra photography gear, and I know I just told you that I use my Alex drawer for that, but anyone who is a photographer, videographer, or even just a creator knows that you don't just have one cleaning cloth, you have 10. You don't have one USB-C cable, you have 5 card readers, etc. Those are all stored in these fishing tackle boxes is what they are. And the nice thing with these is that you can remove or move these inserts anywhere you want. This storage roller is perfect for a room like this, especially because it's not huge. On the other side of the bed we have that 4 cubby cabinet, and what I ended up doing with it was putting my jeans and pants on the bottom, and wanted to kind of use the rest of it as a place to display some of the things I like. In this case, my drone, which is a DJI Mavic Air 2, even though it's been over a year since I've flown it. On the other side, the first PlayStation released, which is iconic to me. It's the first console I started gaming on, and some of my favorite games were played on this console, like Crash Bandicoot, if anybody remembers the originals, or the very first Grand Theft Auto. Anyway, then on the very top we have another IKEA plant, which is the Monstera I talked about earlier. Next to the plant is my old Nikon film camera. I got this from my uncle about 2 years ago. I also leave this pack a Portra 400 behind it because I don't know, I thought it looked cool, and although I have only shot that one session with it, I really like the look I see other photographers getting with this film, and it definitely has to be one of my favorites. Lastly, we have the closet, which I'm not going to show you because it's probably a mess, but that's obviously where I keep my clothes, but also store all my boxes for things like my camera, computer, and so on. Anyway, that's all for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Hit that subscribe button and the bell button to be notified when I post a new video, and we'll see you in the next one.